Let's get to story number three. Story number three. What do you do when your home becomes unlivable? Financial challenge week 5. We just had some rainstorms locally, and very scary, and people are finding out that their homes could be unlivable, and the fact that they pay insurance, but their insurance may not cover flooding, and the fact that United States has a disaster relief fund that may not be able to be tapped into without paperwork. Folks, this is the real deal. There was also a story that surfaced that the UN says that more than 4 million people have left Venezuela. The question is where did those 4 million people go, and where are they headed to? And that's what you probably see, the mass influx at the border. This is serious talk, and it may not get your attention until it starts affecting you. And the fact is that when your home becomes unlivable, it's good for a radio host or anybody to be very militant. But once it starts happening to you, then you start understanding that sympathy and aid and help is well deserved and well needed, and favor from your neighbors is appreciated. These are virtuous things that even talk about in the Bible, not in the magical sense, but in the real sense. The reality is that when things happen, people have to depend on each other. They were talking about how arrest at the border has surged. We're at probably at a 7-year high as Mexico tries to head off tariffs. This is at the border, and I'm telling you, tariffs is not going to patch up this problem. There is a problem within these countries, and the fact that these people do not have good living conditions in their homes. U.S. cancels English classes, recreational programs, and legal aid for unaccompanied child migrants. Folks, this is the real deal. And people who understand, there's even a talk about how if you go into the minority communities, the people who have been poor have been so used to living in conditions of mold, all types of demoralizing environments. People who have been raised in poverty are used to these conditions, but now it's starting to trickle into the higher price communities. They're starting to think that their lives is improper. No, you talk to the average poor person, they will tell you that I've been living this way for years. I've had to live with mold in the house. I've had to live with a leaky roof. But people who have never seen these conditions before, they're starting to get scared. And this is what you're starting to see happening. Things are starting to even themselves out. That's why I encourage you to take the financial challenge. I've taken it. I've taken out credit cards. I've tried to apply for loans, and I'm telling you, you cannot get anything in this environment without money and without credit. I don't care if you are the super. You could be Wonder Woman, and you still cannot. If you don't have those things, you will be a poor Wonder Woman, sitting out on the street saving women, trying to save women with babies. And the fact is, if you don't have money and a good credit, you cannot survive in this capital environment. I mean, that's why the church is so important. Different religious organizations, but Christianity is pretty much one of the only religions that talks about feeding the poor, and that's probably why it is very pivotal for that religion to survive and where we're headed. Even though with all the scrutiny and all the hype about molestation and corruption, and hypocrites, but the fact is that Christianity is the only faith that talks about ministry and aiding the poor. Some other ones may do, but they don't highlight it as much as they talk about Christ and sympathy and resurrection and redemption. That's all Christian talk. Anybody who serves the faith will tell you that's big talk in the Christian faith. And then you have the fact that you have Mexican officials intercepting about 1,000 migrants on a highway. If you don't know, Mexico is predominantly Catholic. So these are churches. Folks, this is just a big mess, and it's getting worse and worse as corruption seeps into everybody's life. I mean, it's seeping into everybody's life. There was talk about how homelessness, despite increased spending, homelessness even in Los Angeles is up 12%. This is scary, folks. This is scary, and I just cannot stress it the most. Even though they say I've even read books about how Christianity originated from Egypt, and the foundings of, if you look at Egyptian religion, is very, very heavily the same as Christianity. They've just renamed some of the gods and some of the characters, but the fact is that it is the only faith that talks about poor and aiding people. I think ancient Kemet, I think some of their most of theirs talks about spirituality and talking to God about healing the nation. But when you start getting into religious talk, it is, you can go either way. But in this new environment, in this day and age, when you talk about healing and helping the poor, the Bible speaks about it heavily in the New Testament, which is very, very needed probably in this new environment where we're headed, when you've got tons of rich people controlling all the wealth, and you've got all the poor people around trying to get a nut off the tree. It's very, very scary. If you want to help out, you're in the Mediator with me, Brian West, doing my own duties and doing my own thing here in the Mediator every week, every Sunday, trying to make sense, a common ground in between, finding the stories that are most important every week. It's not easy. I have to sacrifice my time. I have to dedicate myself to hours and hours in front of a screen and reading books and figuring out why things are done this way. And then at the end of the day, I have to make a decision on where I want to go in this show. So if you want to help out, all you have to do is visit www.method8inc.com. Buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor the program.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.